ABC Women would like to thank BIPOC Executive Search for sponsoring today's episode.
The BIPOC Executive Search app is here for you. Get information about job opportunities we're recruiting for. Keep up to date and in the know about career news tailored to Indigenous, Black, and other racialized audiences. Gain helpful tips and learnings to help you on your career trajectory, celebrate job appointments, and more. The BIPOC Executive Search app, here to elevate the candidate experience for Black, Indigenous, and communities of color. Free to download and available on iPhone and Android smartphones.
Look how far you have come on your own, but never alone. Through the rain and through the shine, here's your moment, it's your time. You stood tall and now you see, standing in your destiny. 100 woman growing strong. 100 woman where you belong. You stood tall and now you see, you have reached your destiny, woman.
100 ABC Women would like to take this opportunity to welcome our viewers and listening audience, families, friends, and our sponsors to our inspirational conversations, fireside chats with 100 ABC Honourees. 100 Accomplished Black Canadian Women is a bold initiative created by the co-authors, the Honourable Dr. Jean Augustine, a former MP, Donna Jones-Simmons, a corporate diversity executive, and Dr. Denise O'Neill-Green, Vice President, Equity and Community Inclusion at Ryerson University. Our mission is to celebrate and archive the professional accomplishments of trailblazing Black women from all across Canada. The goal is to create an ever-expanding database available for current and future generations via print media, public and private libraries, as well as a website, which is www.100abcwomen.ca. We are pleased to bring you a series of fireside chats which include conversations around education, healthcare, entertainment, creative arts, legal, technology, entrepreneurship, diversity and equity, media, engineering, politics, sports, and so much more. These, we know, are topics that matter to us and to you. These educational and inspirational conversations will be made available to all current and future generations via our 100 ABC YouTube channel. This is a great way to learn from our elders, brilliant-minded and accomplished Black Canadian women. Join me as I welcome moderator for Entrepreneurship, Princess Alexander. Princess Alexander is President, Founder, and Chief Transformation Strategist of Alexander Learmonde, a strategy management practice which advises organizations globally to innovate, grow, and implement sustainable master plans. She will introduce a panelist today. So get down to business at hand, entrepreneurship, owning a business. Over to you, Princess.
Thank you for that introduction. I'm excited to moderate this session with an accomplished panel of 3 inspiring women who are making great strides in entrepreneurship. a topic with increasing focus in the community. Now, I would like to introduce our three panelists. Our first panelist is Stacey Ann Berry. Stacey is an entrepreneur with private, public, and non-for-profit sector expertise, self-published author, community leader, and workshop facilitator. We're also delighted to have Esther Enolu with us today. Esther is the director of the Women's Multicultural Resource and Counseling Center in Durham, Ontario. The center operates a social enterprise shop for good. And also with us is Kamshuka, a certified mindfulness practitioner and wellness coach, award-winning entrepreneur, community leader, and 3 times author. Today, we welcome you all. Our format today is relaxed. I will have each panelist speak for 2 minutes to briefly introduce themselves and discuss the business that they are involved with. I will then ask each panelist a question, and then we will move to the next panelist. Time permitting, rotating conversations would follow. Let's get started. As mentioned earlier, our topic is focused on building the business. Stacey, would you have the honor of starting us off?
Certainly, and thank you for that warm introduction, Princess, and good afternoon. It's so great to be with my fellow panelists who are phenomenal women in our community who I have the pleasure of knowing both. So my business is a government relations and professional development firm. My company is called B Stellar Group Inc. And what this means, I'm in the sector of helping nonprofit, medium-sized companies that are centered on community development principles advocate and essentially lobby for better public policies or to get their ideas and proposals through to different levels of government. As a workshop facilitator, I provide hands-on interactive workshops, both virtually and formally in person, on different types of professional development skills. So that includes networking, public speaking, as well as civic engagement and leadership workshops.
Thank you. The question that I have for you, Stacey, is, building blocks of business is something that I think you might have indirectly referred to. And the importance of building blocks that would help entrepreneurs establish a strong foundation for growth is critically important. Could you maybe give us some key takeaways that, the audience could take with them, especially possibly focusing on in the area professional sector?
Certainly. So what I've learned over the years, I first started my journey in entrepreneurship in 2015 as a sole proprietor. Now I'm an incorporated business. And once you incorporate, you really realize there's some key pillars and foundational things that should be in place. You definitely want to have a lawyer or even a legal team if needed that understands your sector. And that will help to make sure that depending on the sector you're in, if you're in a professional service like myself, that you are in the right compliances, you understand best practices and the regulations that govern the industry you're in. So that I found is a very important building block, making sure you have the right contracts in place. When you're getting ready to hire people, you're going to need a lawyer to draft your first employment contract. Some other good building blocks is having a really good accountant. Like you want to have a CPA that you have a great relationship with, who you're constantly in contact with, so you can understand, the revenues that's coming into your business, the expenses, and even tracking it, having a nice simple budget sheet so you know every month this is what I typically spend. So you as the CEO or the president should really be on top of your books as well. But of course, trusting your accountant to do what they need to do, but you shouldn't be so completely disconnected from it. It's good to have a basic understanding as to what your general expenses would be. Another essential building block is having a good payroll system, right? There's a lot of great companies out there that are affordable where we can have our own payroll system to make sure that we're investing in EI and our CPP, because a lot of entrepreneurs are sometimes in a precarious position whereby, if they don't have the product selling anymore, no clients, and then it's like, oh, I don't have EI, but you can, right? So if you have a good payroll system, you can start paying into EI and paying your CPP. And once you grow and you're able to hire people, you already have the right systems in place in order to bring on new employees and making sure that all of that is there. Another important building block, especially for those in professional services, is errors and omissions insurance or professional liability insurance. That's something I got right at the beginning of my business, because you just never know when things could go wrong, but you want to have that kind of protection. And shopping around and getting the right type of policy that's suitable for your business, and even thinking about succession planning sooner rather than later, not waiting until it's almost too late. So having some kind of strategy in place, again, through a lawyer, through an estate planner, as to what do I want to do with my business when it comes to that time to exit, right? Am I going to sell it? Am I going to pass it to someone in my family? So really thinking about those things early on are what I really consider to be essential building blocks. And lastly, in terms of a building block, you want to also make sure that you have a good relationship with, the financial institutions and the banks, because you're going to need credit to grow, right? You're going to need some investments into your business. So building those key relationships with different bank managers and representatives, staying on top of your credit, practicing essential basic money habits like paying your credit cards in full. These are how you can get pre-approvals and some of the investments, like a business line of credit, which for me wasn't difficult to get because it's a principle I've practiced from I was a student, right? So these essential things I find really makes it easier to kind of grow your business once that foundation is solid.
Thank you so much. I thought your comment about owners being really on top of the financials of a business is very important, because, as somebody who has taught business students and entrepreneurship, the accounting course is one of one of the courses that most business students dread, right? And the attitude is, I will hire an accountant. So I thought that was really a good point. And of course, the relationship, building the relationship with banks. I will move now to Esther. And Esther, could you tell us about your business and, the work that you're doing in the community?
Actually, it is a charitable organization, not actually my business, but I am the executive director of the Women's Multicultural Resource and Counseling Center of Durham. This organization has been in the community since 1993. The organization was established to provide services and programs to women of all ages, newcomers, immigrants, youth, and children from diverse backgrounds with lived experience of violence and abuse, including providing services to women entrepreneurs. So, WMRCC provides a variety of programs, and the organization was from integrated, feminist, anti-racist, anti-Black racism, and anti-oppression perspective. And all women, youth, children, regardless of their race, ethnicity, economic background, sexuality, gender expression, immigration status, and so on, have equitable access to our services and programs. WMRCC values diversity, equity, inclusion, equality, human rights, and social justice. At WMRCC, there is no closed door. And I'm happy to be here, and thank you for inviting me. And I feel honored to be one of the 100 accomplished women.
We're happy to have you, Esther. And thank you for all the work that you and WMRCC are doing to assist entrepreneurs, especially in the area of cooperatives and social enterprise. My question to you is that you mentioned basically online businesses. And, now that we're in a pandemic, there is an opportunity for women to pursue online businesses. Could you elaborate on how WMRCC could assist women in the community who are interested in doing, digital business?
Okay. As you all know, COVID-19 pandemic has increased the online presence for many businesses in the community. And even in non-for-profit charitable organizations, everybody has moved their services and programs online. So the same is applicable to businesses. WMRCC is fortunate to receive investment grants through the Toronto Foundation and Community Foundation Canada to establish online business called Shop for Good. So this business was established 2 months ago. So we are brand new in this area. I know for years we've been talking about social enterprise. We also took some courses from the Canadian Women's Foundation some years ago. We are doing education on this. But we are lucky to move on now to establish this. So we've established our online store, and we are providing opportunity for women, and not only women, anybody in the community who owns their business have the right to approach us. We are hosting businesses. If you Google, you will see some businesses already there. So it is an opportunity we are presenting, especially to women, because as we know, women face extraordinary challenges, especially Black women, Indigenous, and women from racialized communities. So they can approach us to have a store at our online Shop for Good. And also women who want to develop their own businesses can also consult with consultants. There are people who are helping others, businesses, consultants. We are working with consultants who help us to establish this online because we are not familiar in this area. So we had to contract it to a consulting firm who is helping us in putting everything. Women can also consult with at cost effective to establish their online digital store by opening new websites and have somebody to help them to develop their content online to sell their material. Because since last year with the pandemic, the online shopping has increased. Everything is online. People shop online as opposed to going into the store to shop. So that will be what I will suggest to those women, and also to talk to people who are already operating this business to get an idea how they went about it.
Thank you so much, Esther. And now to Kamshuka. Kamshuka, could you tell us about your area and the work you do?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. And it's phenomenal to sit amongst these women and the great women that have been highlighted. I am an author and a wellness coach, a certified life coach, and mindfulness practitioner. And my focus has been on the wellness of our community, the wellness of our women and men and children. My focus is, it's been narrowed down as over the years, being an entrepreneur and working even in the photography industry, I realized that we are capable of doing everything that we desire to do. We have so much power that we can actually make things happen. But if we are not well, then all we have is awards and all we have is names and titles, and we're not well and we cannot service accordingly. So my mission and my purpose and my passion has always been people.
Thank you so much. Our health and wellness matters, especially for entrepreneurs who, work often 24/7. My question to you is, Kamshuka, is that running a business, calls for boldness, focus, and what I call dogged determination and resilience. How does the practice of mindfulness help us from within to garner that inner strength that, that allows us to master our minds and not to give up.
Absolutely. I think we all have those days where we feel like maybe what we're doing is not bringing the full impact. I'm sure there are also days when we feel like, I'm tired. I don't want to do this anymore. Can somebody else do this for me? Not realizing that this is the passion and the mission that is destined for our being. This is what we're called to do. So if this is what we are called to do, then we want to do this from a whole level, from a whole place. And so when it comes to being mindful in our businesses and being mindful as a practitioner, as an entrepreneur, it's important that we are taking moments to pause. We're taking breaks. We're giving ourselves, that pat on the back. I think sometimes, of course, it's great to hear from everybody else say how awesome we are, but it's important when we can be approved by ourselves also. It's so important when we can say, look how far I have come. And then when we get to that place of carefully thinking and celebrating the moments we are in, we can move forward accordingly. From this place, you can speak to the community, you can speak to entrepreneurs, you can speak to your audience and give them exactly what they need. Because now it's coming from a deeper level than just, I got to do this and I'm doing this because this is where I should be going as I move forward. We're going deeper than our thoughts, and we're learning the mastery of our minds. And from this place, our minds are so powerful. So when we take those moments to be still, to appreciate the moments and how far we have come, we're able to move forward wonderfully. You feel so good after you rest. When we wake up from a little nap, it was 5 minutes or 10 minutes, but you feel so rested. And I just wanted, and I still want, just entrepreneurs, women especially, we carry so much, and I just want us to take those moments of pause. I think we can be greater than we are in our businesses and in our communities if we just take care of ourselves, starting with our minds.
Thank you so much for that. So inspiring. The whole area of lack of capital within our community is one I think that, and the financial aspects that Stacey referred to, and also Esther. I can't help bringing this up, the fact that in the media recently, the federal Liberals pledged $300 million to support Black-led community organizations very quickly. I feel this is exciting news. Any thoughts, about the ways that money could help the community? And this, either Stacey, you can weigh in, and also Esther very quickly.
I think it's a great start and a good infusion for some of, especially the nonprofits that have difficulty with being sustainable, and they may get that funding that's just not enough to serve, to help with the people they serve. So it's a really good start in terms of what they're committing to doing.
Okay, thank you. Esther, any quick thoughts on that?
Okay. Our community, especially the businesses, have suffered. They suffered in the past before COVID-19, and with the COVID-19, they are facing a lot of challenges. Some of them have folded because they haven't been working. So it's a crisis. And we are happy that the federal government is coming up with different forms of incentives to support them. And another thing is, access. How many of them are having access to those monies the federal government has been giving to the community? I know last year when the pandemic started, the government gave CIBA, Canada Emergency Business Account Loan of $40,000 to businesses, of which $10,000 has to be repaid back. And actually, 30,000 has to be repaid back and 10,000 you can keep. So this is one of the incentives. And also beginning of this year, 2021, the federal government also provided 20,000 grant. And from some years ago, 2 years ago, WMRCC was able to develop 7 worker cooperative programs for immigrant women. And I was calling those women to inform them about this program. They were not aware of it. Another issue is awareness, people knowing what is available for them in the community and how they can access those benefits. And recently, the federal government has announced $300 million for Black-led community organizations to have access to these grants. And also there is a $200 million to establish a new Black-led philanthropic endowment fund. And this is to have a foundation for Black community, which is very good. And I'm looking forward to see this to manifestation because it will benefit people from our community.
Thank you. Thanks, Esther. And just one quick question back to you, Kamshuka, before I wrap up. And my question has to do with dealing with fear and being afraid to venture into business. Is there any words of encouragement for our community?
What I would say is embrace the fear. Embrace it, because it's a given. We're going to be fearful of everything and anything we do not understand and something that we do not know what to do with. So at this point, I think we have all faced a great amount of fear when it comes to different things in our lives. So embrace the fear. Allow it to propel you. Allow it to be your fuel. Because when you put fuel to passion, then you can come up with what it is exactly you need to speak to our community. So let the fear come, feel the fear, and allow it to be your fuel. That is being fearless every day, because we are fearless.
Thank you so much for that. So just a few closing remarks. I hope everyone in the audience has been inspired, educated, and now challenged to take the leap of faith and to pursue their own opportunities. Building a business calls for focus and unwavering commitment to fundamentals. We also learned about alternate models of business, such as cooperatives, digital businesses, and social entrepreneurship like Shop for Good. Lastly, we heard about wellness and being our birthright. I think I saw that phrase somewhere, and really that resonated with me. How important it is to master our minds and living fearlessly and fearless, fearless each day. So thank you for joining us on this conversation.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you
so
for
much.
having us, Princess. Thank you, Stacy, and thank you, Kashuka. And thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Look how far you have come on your own, but never alone. Through the rain and through the shine, here's your moment, it's your time. You stood tall and now you see, standing in your destiny. 100 woman growing strong. 100 woman where you belong. You have reached your destination.